Oh, that feels fantastic. Wow, what a sound. These might be the most surprising irons I've tested this year. The new McLaren irons Series 3 look incredible, but are you paying for the name or do these actually perform? We're going to find out in this video. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little run through my experience of that unboxing and when I received these irons. Now, as you can see from the picture I'm going to put up here now, there was a beautiful presentation box. I wasn't expecting that. You open it up and they're beautifully presented in a high quality sort of presentation box. So it's not just your standard box you're going to get them in. But I have followed up on that and I did check. This is something that is only going to happen to the first X amount of customers. So it isn't going to be something that's going to happen long term, unfortunately. I think they should do that personally because it was a really nice experience of receiving a set of irons in that nice presentation box. Now, as I got them out of the box, and obviously you pick up an iron, first thing you do is you look at the back of the club. This looks fantastic in my eyes. Yes, it's a little bit different to what we've seen before, that little sort of mesh look in the back, that carbon. That gives me a little bit of resemblance to the car now, the carbon trims that you're going to get on the supercars. And obviously the McLaren orange logo on the back. I've got McLaren Golf on the hosel. This is a Series 3 iron, so these are a game improvement iron. Now, when I first picked it up, put it in that playing position, I thought that looks a great iron. For a game improvement, I was expecting it to be a bit chunky, bit thick, loads of offset, typically things that you tend to sort of see in that category. And these are a very nice shaped iron. Yes, slightly medium to thickish top line, a little bit of offset, but nothing too chunky in a way in terms of the look. A really nice sort of shaped toe section. So first impressions, really impressive and definitely high quality. Okay, so as I mentioned, I've got a full set, but I'm going to run through a pitcher wedge, then into 7 iron, and then into a 4 iron. So we're going to test the short iron, mid, and also the long iron in this particular set. Right, so the pitcher wedge, as I mentioned, really nice sort of satin sort of finish on the head itself with a little bit of a slight glossy sort of look to it, but nothing too high chrome. Now, in that playing position, as I mentioned, I mean, for short irons, when you sometimes see them in these game improvement irons, they look a bit cumbersome, don't they? They're a little bit sort of chunky and a bit sort of ugly in a way. But this is shaped really well. Hardly any offset there at all in this pitching wedge. Yes, we've got that medium top line. Yeah, there's a little bit of presence down there as you're going to expect from this type of iron, but it's shaped really nicely as well. So loft-wise on this is 44 degrees on the wedge. So as you're going to expect in the Series 3, which is that game improvement iron, and that's shown on the back of the hosel. You can see you've got 3 dots. That's where we're going to get that name from, that Series 3. We see that slightly stronger loss as you're going to expect. So this is type of iron, what McLaren is saying, is really built for distance, speed, as well as forgiveness, and also some feel added in there, which I'm really interested to sort of have a little look at. So pitcher wedge does sit really nice. It does look high quality, I must admit. Oh, that feels fantastic. Wow, what a sound that is. Now, these aren't forged. Now, the price tag of £350 per iron, which obviously is a lot of money. You'd maybe expect them to be a forged iron, but they're not. They're not forged, but that felt really good. It felt a little bit like a forged iron. So carry there 134, spin at 7,000 for that pitching wedge. A little bit heavy. That's how it feels. That sounds fantastic. Feels great off the club face. That isn't blasting off. It's not loud. It doesn't look like it's sort of really out of control in a way. Yeah, even that was a little bit heavy. The spin was still very good, 136. So McLaren are using this MIM technology, which is metal injection molded around the perimeter of the iron. So this is giving this sort of nice feel to it, this forged-like feel, this nice sort of controlled sound to it. Then we've got little nods here on the website when I would start reading it. It's all about around the car. So we've got this engine here, and then they've got this carbon bonnet, which is obviously this centerpiece in the back, which I think looks really cool. The fact that it's black against that chrome looks very nice, and the yellow really stands out of the logo. Now this is really precisely positioning the center of gravity through all these irons through the set, from your long iron obviously through to the short iron as well. Really trying to get that consistency of launch, ball speed, spin, as well as obviously the forgiveness on those slight mishits. That feels beautiful. Great flight to that as well. So a little bit more spin with that one, 8,000, again carry 133. So we're seeing some good consistency straight away there with that carry distance number. Okay, so there's a few shots hit with the pitch wedge. Let's move into the 7-iron. So when we move the club over and look at the sole of the golf club, we've got this heel cut sole design here, where you can see it sort of cut away in that heel section around the back part of the sole. This is all to try and help with turf interaction and relief as we come through. I have hit some outside, which I'll show you some clips there, and to be honest, it did feel really clean through the turf. Went in quite nicely, but exited out very smoothly as well. So it feels quite quick through that turf as you work through the golf ball. So as I mentioned, there is an internal weighting system. We've got that little bit of tungsten inside. You can't see it, but in that toe section, we've got a little bit of a weight behind the center of the club head there, which is then covered with this carbon bonnet, as they will call it, which basically is allowing them to dampen sound and vibration. That's the reason that carbon is there. It's not just for show. It's there to create that sort of dampening of that sound, which obviously definitely relates to a little bit on feel. Okay, that wasn't perfect. That was slightly in the heel, pushed a fraction if I'm being honest. So that's maybe where that forgiveness, again, the sound was fantastic there. It has dropped a little bit on that ball speed, a couple of miles an hour, and just dropped back a tiny bit on that distance. I'm super impressed with the feel, and I mean the look of the iron in that playing position really ticks the box for me. I could play those irons myself, and I typically wouldn't gravitate more towards a game improvement iron just because of the bulkiness of the head in a way. But that definitely, you know, it's an iron that I could sort of play. I wouldn't like the lofts as strong as they are, to be honest, but that's me being personal. But if you're left to some distance, and obviously that's one of the reasons why they do that. Oh, right, that's going to test. That was right off the bottom groove. That was, I'm glad it's now June in the UK and not winter, because that would have hurt. But again, that hasn't done that bad, has it? You know, that was a bit of a bottom groove there. That was a bit thin. You feel it, you get the feedback through it, but it hasn't done that badly, has it? Okay, let's just hit one more. That's 7. I can't finish that 7-iron on that strike. Again, not perfect, but I'll take that result all day long. Again, ball speed decent on not a perfect strike, and we're hitting that 175. So the grouping's quite nice and tight there, which is really good and quite refreshing for a game improvement iron. Sometimes we see those freaky low spin sort of flyers in a way, don't we, with the game improvement irons. We're not really seeing that with these so far. Let's move into that 4-iron. Right, so 4-iron now. Sometimes a scary iron for a lot of golfers, and availability in these irons, they actually do a 3-iron, which is surprising really nowadays, because generally in that game improvement iron category, a lot of golf companies have dropped long irons. They've dropped the 3-iron completely and generally start at a 4-iron upwards. But you can get a 3-iron if you do like that long iron. So 3-iron through to that pitching wedge, as well as that gap wedge in the Series 3. So obviously the look's going to be very, very similar in terms of the back of the golf club, and obviously into that playing position again, you've got some nice confidence blade length there, medium top line. We have got a little bit more offset, so that progression of that offset runs through the set of irons, and it's really great to see in that pitcher wedge where there's hardly any at all, where we don't really need it in that pitcher wedge, to be honest, but maybe just need a little bit of that help in this longer iron. Again, looks great behind the ball. Real big fan of the looks, real big fan of the feel off the club face. Oh, I've ripped that, and that's just pulled a little bit though, unfortunately. That feels fantastic. Oh, they feel buttery off the club face, considering I think that maybe that carbon little bonnet, as they're calling it, on the back of the head is really giving some good dampening sound, because they don't sound loud, brash, hard, like they're really flying off there that sometimes you find with that game improvement iron. Beautiful sound, beautiful feel. Obviously that one went a little bit further with that little pull. Again, same one, just a little bit pulley from me, just a touch lower on the club face. You're getting that feedback through that iron as well, which is nice. I think what we're starting to see there is I'm just slightly moving my strike around, to be honest, on that 7 iron as well as this 4 iron. Those two strikes were very, very different. You can see the carry distance isn't that much difference apart. So those misses are definitely doing as good or not that far away from the real good strikes, which is nice. So there's that, I would say, a nice bit of forgiveness, nice bit of stability, and not a big drop off of ball speed on the misses. Again, I'm really testing this forgiveness. That was a touch toe. Flight looks identical. And there we go. The distance is hardly changing. That's great. I'm really impressed with that. I mean, you've got to look at these irons and the price tag, haven't you? You know, over £2,000 for a set, depending on how many irons you're getting, but £350 per iron. These are not cheap, are they? But you look at your top-end Mizunos, you're looking at, like, for instance, the Cobra, the 3D printed. You know, they're getting up to that £2,000 mark, aren't they? So when you look at it like that from a brand of McLaren, you're going to expect a high price tag, aren't we? Oh, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. I've really enjoyed hitting those. They've really surprised me, actually. You know, when you look at a set of irons at a price point of well over £2,000, £350 per iron, you're thinking, how much better can they be? Do they perform any better than any other golf brand out there? And are they going to be that much better? Probably not really in that performance, but do you know what? The feel, brilliant. The looks, fantastic. The sound, absolutely brilliant. And the misses, for me, has probably impressed me more than anything through those shots, because that 7 iron I was starting missing a couple, the 4 iron I've just missed a couple, and they still seem to be landing in a very, very similar area. So very impressed with those irons from McLaren. We've got the Series 1 irons coming. It's going to be maybe a month or two from this particular video when they start to come out and be launched. Possibly there'll be a Series 2 slotting in there somewhere. Probably going to venture into maybe some Woods driver at some point, I'm guessing. But it's an interesting one with McLaren coming to the market. Post comments down below. Is the price point just putting you straight out there? I would go and give those a go. I think you'll be very surprised. They feel superb. I'm going to attempt to take them out on the golf course and have a game with those. So post comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts as always. If you're enjoying the videos and you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I very much appreciate your support. Hopefully catch up with you all very soon.